I don't know what love is. Can someone actually explain to me what love is? Besides just feeling a presence of respect and compassion revolving around the phrase, I love you. And can someone actually explain it to me without turning into a Roxbury guy? As best as I could tell, love is something you get when you give it back. So what is it? Is it verbal? Verbal communication nowadays, despite the current technology, is self-destructing like the sweet innocence of 1990s children or the TV show Seventh Heaven. Is it physical? It seems real sweet when I surround myself and see all kinds of PDA, and it equally seems like hell whenever someone makes a snarky comment about dead fish when describing certain kinds of women. Ironically, some of the people I've heard say these things smell like green shit themselves. Is it solely materialistic? Does love actually come with an asking price? Do you have to amass certain physical quantities of valuables to be considered attractive, or at least likable? Would someone actually tell me? Please? I'm retarded. No, seriously, I'm retarded. Hyperlexia. It's a lesser known piece of the autistic spectrum. But I was born with it, and pieces of it still exist within me, even though I'm in a fairly competent and coherent position to live my life like a normal human being. I suggest you look it up because not much has been written about the subject. I would also suggest that you take into consideration that I was adopted. And for the better part of the last 10 years, I was made to believe I was almost aborted. My mom couldn't take care of me or raise me alone and on food stamps. And I never met my dad. My grandparents, who took me in, died before I started junior high school. And I lived too much in my own childish world to really see what the ILY in family meant, before the mood from a lot of my closest relatives went from I love you to for a minute I loved you. Loved. I don't know that kind of love, and I especially don't know that when it comes to romantic relationships. I've been fibbed and lied to by bitches that can't control making a mockery of other people's vulnerabilities, or the retardation in my brain manages to screw up or ignore those who could be the one for me, or I'm just not good enough for anybody. I wanted out of an almost 4-year relationship long before it actually ended. I crushed on my best friend and ended up losing that bestie tag and her trust because of a relationship and something else which will not be discussed here openly. And last year, around this time, I had so much interest in someone. I told her she was the most beautiful girl I had ever met in my life. And not just because she looked good, but because I had good intuition to believe that she was a uniquely great person on the inside. I ended up finding out she was actually teacher's aide to my nephew Landon when he was in preschool. Even though I hadn't seen my nephew in a long time, that fact hit home to me. And that's the kind of person you would most want to have commitment with. But when she and I did talk, she had just been cheated on herself, and I overwhelmed her and screwed that one up too. And to this day I'm still haunted by that, and my confidence to initiate that kind of bond is, well, pretty much lost forever. I'm involved in the sports and entertainment genre, where you are more isolated than you are unified by any close relationships. And I am surrounded by so much macho, and so many of the guys are lucky to have people around that they love, and in turn are happy to return the favor. And random women come crawling in and out over and over and over again. And if you don't wrestle, then you're more prone to being a natural laughingstock, because you're less of a man than they are. A lot of people call professional, indie, backyard, and other non-collegiate wrestling, and the people that surround themselves in that business, fake. But I'm not fake. Everything I just said is from whatever is left from my supposedly manipulative, thoughtless heart. And this spot right here, this is the only place where I could say these things and not get into trouble. And where I feel like for once I won't screw up. And ironically enough, it's easy to appear manipulative and thoughtless. Because when you're watching, you never can tell when the line is between reality and fiction. I don't know what love is. But I do know that come this Saturday, for at least a few hours, I can head to Charles Street, bring my notes, videotape and provide commentary for 8 wrestling matches, and pretend like these stigmas are nowhere to be found. Same goes for the next hour. And no dead fish or good as dead family can take that from me. Hello Revolution fans watching on YouTube and Facebook. Skier Moxley with you, welcoming you to the Revolution Report, your once-a-month stop for everything you need to know about Revolution Wrestling. And in this program, everything you need to know about Uprising. We are days away from the premier event on the Revolution Wrestling calendar. And whereas baseball is in full playoff mode come October, RevDub has its own version of the Fall Classic. But all the same, anticipation for Uprising is almost on par with baseball fans' anticipation for the World Series. Except they're two totally different things, and if George Carlin was still alive, he'd probably slap me upside the head for trying to compare baseball and wrestling. Got it. Baseball is played on a diamond. Wrestling is performed on a surface that is square that's called a ring. Baseball players wear uniforms. Wrestlers wear spandex and grungy-looking t-shirts. In baseball, you are out on 3 strikes, while 4 balls constitute a walk. In wrestling, you may be out after 1 strike, and if you lose your balls, you may not be able to walk. That's all I got. Leave it to the real comedians. Last week's adrenaline was indicative of the locker room's vibes heading into Uprising. Bedlam erupted in nearly every match as individuals looked to gain momentum, and personal scores looked to remain far from settled. One of those scores kicked off things on Charles Street as Kash and Prodigy Snake made their matchup official in a tense contract signing. At Uprising, it will be the superstar and one of the original pioneers of the front yard taking on the rogue assassin and former 2-time Revolution champion. Who really did break up the rebellion? If you ask Kyle Kash, you'll definitely find reasoning that it wasn't him. If you ask Prodigy Snake, he'll say it was Kash. One thing's for certain. For two men who have spent the majority of their careers spoiling for a fight, they're gonna get one. Against each other. Which could very possibly overshadow what this feud has been based on. Betrayal.
I'm staying here with Kyle Kash, Brian Gibbs, and Les Rocker, and we all share the same hate. This is the rebellion!
This battle has been as tightly contested as any war in any organization has ever been fought.
You tried to run each and every one of us out of revolution since it started.
If you want to fight, you got one with all of us. We all want revenge, and we're gonna take you out. We're gonna put a stop to all of you.
We won the war long before they were ahead. They're doing a better job as individuals than they are as a group.
Wait a minute! There's a guy in a mask! What? That's Houston!
They're doing a better job individuals than they are as a group.
We gotta cover his backs.
What happens if it comes down to just the four of us?
Start problems? You know what? Fuck. No! The trucker's walking out!
Don't you realize that this is what administration wants?
What did we sign up for? You wanna know why we failed? Because of this.
What are you, like the spokesperson for rebellion?
Will this be the time where the clock strikes midnight?
There's Kash!
Let's give it up for Kyle Kash helping up Prodigy Snake.
You let these fans down. And most importantly, you let the rebellion down. Uprising, me against you!
You're the one that betrayed all of us. You're the one that sold out and turned your back on everything. This wasn't my betrayal. This is your betrayal.
You got any balls left in that little venom sack of yours? Come on down.
Where are you gonna go back to POW? Wrestle on the ground like a bunch of clowns? Maybe you should have walked away when you were burned.
You want to start playing with fire? You don't want to fuck with this kind of fire.
In Uprising, I accept your challenge!
Am I going insane? My blood is boiling inside of my veins. An evil feeling attacks. My body's shaking, there's no turning back. Don't take your eyes off the trigger. I'm not to blame if your will tilts back. As your eyes start to blister, there's just no hope for a final embrace. So here we are, I'm in your head, I'm in your heart. You were told to run away, so complacent and like the flame. Pay the price for your betrayal, your betrayal.
This upcoming Saturday at Uprising, for the first time in the ring in Revolution, it's a battle of former Rebellion members. Prodigy Snake versus Kyle Kash, the Rogue Assassin, versus the Superstar. Joining me now, the Superstar, Kyle Kash.
Thanks for having me, Skeeter. About time I get on this damn show. You got every other monkey on here except the main face of the company.
I've only had two, and that's quite judgmental of calling yourself the face so soon. Tell me your side of the story as to how the rebellion split up. Because it seems so vague, the reasoning you brought out. You pointed the fingers at everybody. Rocker, Snake, Phoenix a little bit by taking his move, but just kind of clear things up for me.
I mean, do I even need to? Story speaks for itself. I mean, the fans were well aware why Rebellion fell apart. The egos just got too out of control. I was the only guy without an ego in the group.
On the surface, it seemed like.
I mean, I just can't put up with egos. I'm a lone wolf, lone survivor, and when the group doesn't gel, I can't be a part of it anymore. That's just my opinion on it.
I also said, I talked about pointing the blame at Rucker. Why exactly would you point the blame at him, Prodigy Snake, when the genesis of these problems came from Houston, your brother?
I brought up egos. He's probably got the biggest egos out of them all.
Really?
I mean, the guy just walks around like his shit doesn't stink. He just walks around like he owns the place, and he acted like he was a spokesperson. Wouldn't let me get a word in, just like my opinion didn't matter, or any of our opinions, all due respect to Phoenix and Warren Boy, Snake Boy. That's just my opinion. Too many egos in that group. And Lex Rocker, he's got the biggest one of them all, and when I slapped him, you're damn sure I meant it.
On the flip side, it's safe to assume, though, that Mike Houston was responsible, because those mind games began at Day of Champions, and pretty much throughout the whole tenure of Revolution Wrestling that he's been on poised to screw everybody. He even said in an interview last month with him that you should retire. Because you put on great matches, and you guys individually put on great matches, but in the case of you, you should retire. You were good in FYW, but not in Revolution.
I should retire.
Yeah, that's what he said.
I'm 22 years old, on the top of my game. Probably some of my best work in the last year, but I gotta say the year's not over. My best work isn't over yet. At Uprising, you're gonna see a match that you wouldn't believe you'd see. It's just gonna be a great match, all because of me. I'm gonna make that match happen when I beat Snake. Now, as far as retiring go, I will never retire. A lot of people say I'm retiring. I take it day by day, and I will do this until I can no longer do it anymore. That's just how I feel.
One more question about your brother. As you came out of the womb with him, after Road to Uprising, and a little bit of adrenaline, some of the fans chanted Bieber Jr. Are you in any way, shape, or form in cahoots with your brother? Did he put you up to this?
As much as he dislikes Snake, I mean, that's one thing we both share. No. This was my plan. That was my action. Had nothing to do with Mike. As far as Bieber goes, that's a compliment to me. I mean, me and Bieber, we party together in LA every now and then. I was in his music video. I mean, he's cool in my book, so if they want to call me Bieber Jr.
What video? I've never seen that video. The video you're talking about. Then try saying
maybe you shouldn't watch it. It's a little too mature for you. Got a bunch of naked chicks. That's another video. Okay. Got a bunch of naked chicks, stuff you wouldn't like.
I can handle it. Believe it.
Next question.
Moving on. Prodigy Snake. The match at hand on Saturday at Uprising. First time in the ring, not the first time ever. As I said at Adrenaline a couple weeks back, it was the first time ever, but this is actually the second match. First in the ring. The tale of the tape. Prodigy Snake, 2 times in Revolution. Revolution Championship victories. Your 2014, only 2 wins, period. Why kick him in the face at Road to Uprising and add a little insult to injury and say that he let the rebellion down?
It's actually kind of funny. I was talking to a fan that follows us, and he said, "Are you jealous of Prodigy's success here? And you haven't done nothing this season. You haven't won any belts. A few wins here and there, but it hadn't been your year. It's been Prodigy's year." That almost made me laugh, because jealous of him? This year could go back to me joining the rebellion and almost being held down. But now that I'm out of the group, I gotta say, my confidence went sky high. My matches are going to be stellar. 2 wins this season, I could put that blame to being a part of the rebellion and just not thinking clearly. I make guys look good. That's what I'm known for. I make guys look good when they necessarily don't deserve to look good. I mean, you watch my matches, I'm carrying most of these guys through him. And I'm going to carry Snake too, because God knows he can't hang with a superstar like me.
Who is more heavyweight when it comes to alcohol? Kash, Phoenix, or Rocker?
Well, I know Kyle Kash likes to go to the the bars.
He's joking.
Yes, only joking, Kyle Kash. Don't.
Yeah, you want to
Gay bars,
that?
First of all, I don't hang out with Prodigy, and I got a lot of friends in the entertainment business, whether they be gay or not. People are people to me. But I love women. I absolutely love women, and they love me. So no, I'm not gay, Prodigy. Not that I have anything against anyone out there. I got a lot of cool friends that go both ways, but they're cool people in my opinion.
Well, of course.
I don't know what to say about that.
The one
maybe
thing
he's going to the gay bar. Maybe he's got maybe he's embarrassed. Maybe he's got something to hide there. I don't know.
I'm not sure. You talked about history speaking for itself. You said it here. You said it 2 weeks ago when you showed Snake the contract. And specifically, what history are you referring to? Because there has been no real bad blood between you guys. The first match you had last year was out of respect. This one, the question is betrayal and who's pointing the fingers at who. But what history exactly are you alluding to? Because I'm not really seeing it.
You want to bring up history? I've been with the company a long time, since day one, as a matter of fact. Better part of the decade. Seen a lot of come and go. Seen a lot of succeed, including Prodigy. I gotta say, he has succeeded in Revolution Wrestling so far. Whether we go back a long way, yeah, we've known each other since he joined, and I did have respect for him up until his ego got in the way of that. If he could have been on the same page with us and not let the world title take over everything he was doing, then maybe this match, maybe I wouldn't have kicked him in the face. Maybe this match wouldn't be happening, but he brought that on himself.
Speak of the title. 2 final questions here. One, relating to Snake. Was it you that was responsible for holding his Revolution title rematch clause hostage? Was it Houston? Who was it?
What was the question?
Why was it you that was holding Prodigy Snake's Revolution title rematch clause hostage in the wake of this challenge? Was it Houston that did it? Who did it? I'm just curious.
I'm not, I don't bullshit, never have, never will. Yeah, it was Houston. He told me, I know you want to end his career at Uprising. Put his rematch clause on the line. Prodigy, how much he loves that world title. Put it on the line, and a little trash talk here and there, talked him into the match. Now I get the chance to have his blood on my hands in that ring, and hopefully put him out of his own misery and his career.
Finally, it's the death match with your brother and Mr. Ego, as you say, Phoenix, Brian Phoenix. Death match for the Revolution Championship. And you've sort of said, you being the face of the company, I'm sure you're going to gun for it later on. Who would you rather face for the championship? Call this a rather unofficial prediction.
Between Houston and Phoenix?
Yeah, out of those two.
I mean, both are good competitors, as much as I don't like Brian, or Mike for that matter. I would beat either one of their asses in that ring. And you talk about the death match. Someone's going to die at Uprising, and I don't know if it's going to even be Mike or Phoenix. I'm hoping it will be Snake. I'm hoping Snake's going to die at Uprising. Call me what you will, I just hate him. Hate's a strong word, but that's what it boils down to.
Well, I'll let you go back to hanging with your Hollywood friends. Kyle Kash, thank you for...
We're not done here. I have a lot to get off my chest.
Okay, I'm on. I'm done with
take Snake's talking about, accomplishing his goals this year. And I have to say, all my dreams have come true this year. I'm a dreamer. All my dreams and goals come true for me. Snake, he's living in a nightmare. He's living in a living nightmare. And he wants to talk about betrayal. This was his betrayal, not mine. Snake, I'm hoping you're watching this right now. This wasn't my betrayal, this was your betrayal. See you at Uprising. hope that kick in the face is going to feel good. Peter? Thanks for asking.
Problem.
The hell these damn things doing everywhere?
Yeah, you never know. This guy's always got that camera pointing in our faces. I don't know why.
I thought we put a restraining order on now. No, stay back. Whoa, up. No, what? No. Remember, we've had talks about this. Okay? How many more restraining orders can we get on you? Anyway.
Whoa.
Well, Gator, I just want to hug.
Back him up. Daniel's clan.
What the hell? Do you got questions or what?
You're all busy at Uprising. One by one, as you see the leader of the clan stepping in front of the tag team champions who have a fatal four-way tag team title match.
Which they're gonna win, by the way.
3 other teams. Well, we'll see what happens. True Sin, I would call the wild card. Heading into title in the bank with 5 other guys that have had championship experience. And then, of course, the big man, Jimmy Jack Daniels, who issued the challenge for 15 minutes of perhaps the most purest pain in the history of Revolution and in FYW lore, too.
Nobody delivers more pain.
Just curious, what are your thoughts heading into those 3 battles? I'll start with the tag team champions.
It's still
if they have words.
The backyard over there.
Make sure you put a leash on Bobo next time.
Well, come on, I just want to give you a hug.
What do you want us to tell you, man?
What are your thoughts having to
We are the best tag team here in Revolution. Right here is the proof. We're the tag champs. Bobo, tell them what's up, man.
I think you already said, but come on, we just want to hug.
No. I'm staying away.
We are the Daniels boys. We drink moonshine and party all night better than anybody else, and that's what we do.
I don't need to be violated.
And at Uprising, those other teams better watch out because we're going to be loaded and ready to go.
True Sin, you're facing 5 other men, 5 other experienced men. What is your plans for Uprising?
Well, my plans for Uprising ain't nobody tougher than True Sin. And at Uprising and the title in the bank, I'll guarantee show you why I say I'm the toughest than anybody else in that ladder match. Nobody is tougher than True Sin. You dig?
Nice to see they eliminate slavery too. Jimmy Jack Daniels, you've been on the prowl for Pennywise in the Hardcore Championship. This must feel like Christmas for you, having to face maybe 10, 15, 20 other men for 15 straight minutes with potential blood on their hands.
It's my match. There's only ever been one. And I was in it. And I destroyed everyone. It doesn't matter if you're a man, a girl, or Pennywise. When I get a hold of you, I'm gonna rip you apart. And all there will be left is pain.
Ladies and gentlemen, take notice. This may be an alcohol-fueled anger heading your way deep from the south of Alabama. Come October 8th.
You want to close this thing out so we can go drink some more?
You have seen every one of these boys in action. You know what they're capable of. You know that we're gonna take everything at Uprising.
It's one thing to step into the squared circle with members of the Daniels clan. It's another thing to try and interview them as a unit. It's sabotage to get hugged by Bobo. Damn dirty ape does not even begin to describe the stench. It's like a skunk and possum are having intercourse in the nearby woods. God. But without question, all of them are prepared for their individual combats this Saturday. And Uncle Cletus has got his celebration whiskey ready to brew in the deep south as he looks for a clean sweep. In a few minutes, we'll run down the complete lineup for Uprising. Over the past month, we've had our focus on the 2 big main event matches. You've heard Kyle Cash's take on his forthcoming bout with Prodigy Snake. Then there is the War of Wars, and one which has built up all season long, and maybe for the better part of 4 years. Mike Houston, the founder, will finally shut up and nut up this Saturday at Uprising, defending his Revolution Championship against Brian Phoenix. In any year, if you stick Houston versus Phoenix at the top of the card on the final day of the season, you would expect fireworks to erupt. But this has been no ordinary year. Both men have been on opposite ends of the other war of wars, administration versus rebellion. Mike Houston has been gnawing at the bit to turn his revolution into a nightmare for anyone who decides to step in his path. Brian Phoenix has been thrown into a tailspin after constant verbal and physical attacks by Houston and his administration. For the longest time, Houston avoided the issue of a fight. That was until he secured the Revolution Championship, a prize which played a bit of a contributing factor in the split between members of the rebellion. It blurred the line between the professional and personal goals of the rebellion, and Phoenix himself is not shy of that fact. Phoenix has been yearning for the Revolution Championship, but, in his own words, if he can't get his hands on Mike Houston, the Rev Dub title means nothing. Well, it means something now, and at the final event of Revolution's first season.
Houston wins! The FYW is Houston. What the hell has gotten into him? He owns the FYW back and he's a new undisputed champ.
No more FYW. Welcome to Revolution Wrestling.
Well, one thing I want to point out about the attack is if you look really closely, he actually hits me in the ear with that chair shot. So I thought that'd be a little fun fact. Why has he been shying away from me? Yeah. Well, I can't get the answer from him straight up. I think I have an answer in my head. He's afraid of me. If you want to think about it, he's been on my case since I started in FYW. You remember a little group called the New Breed? If I remember that situation, I think after that was all said and done, for a while I was being called the faction killer of FYW. I took the New Breed on, head on, and I won. And I remember that first time I won the championship and just the feeling of emotion that came over me. You know, I just started, and now I'm one of the top guys. And then Houston, for some reason, just every time I held a championship in that company, he tried to find a way to get it away from me.
I didn't screw Brian Phoenix. Phoenix screwed Phoenix.
I've been put in knockdown twice as the #1 entrance, and I succeeded once. He's put me in matches with the New Breed, matches I shouldn't have won, and I keep coming back at him, win, lose, or draw. I keep getting back up just to prove they can't keep me down. And here we are 4 years later. He's got his company. He's built an army. He's been trying as hard as he can just to get me to crack, and he has, but not the way he wanted me to. He tried to get me to quit, and what he's done is he's just pissed me off. And there's no other way this story ends. I have to get my hands on Houston. I have to.
I'll give you your match.
Really?
Finally! Uprising. Me and you.
Now knock him out.
A death match!
No countouts, no disqualifications. Submissions can happen. But the only way to win this match is when your opponent cannot answer the referee's traditional 3 count via pinfall, followed by his standing 10 count.
My strategy's simple. It revolves around one thought that I can't get out of my head. And nobody's gonna understand this at first, but when you hear why, it's about front yard mania. Mike Houston versus Reginald Buxley for the company, and the guest referee is me. And I called for the belt when it was all said and done. And look where we are now. As far as it goes in my head, everything that has happened in this company, with the administration, the downs, people getting hurt, it's all my fault. If I declare Reginald Buxley the winner, I don't think this company would be even anything like it is right now. But Houston's the winner. He's turned the revolution into a tyranny, and it tears me apart. In my opinion, every person that gets beaten down, every time somebody gets attacked, put in the hospital, I feel like it's my fault. I feel like I'm the one to blame. My goal has changed because of that reason. I feel like this is my fault, and the only way I can fix it is to get my hands on Houston. I can't just beat him. I have to eliminate Houston. I have to take him out of the equation for me to even feel better about all this.
Point blank. What if you lose? What happens after that?
If I lose. You know how they say the phoenix always rises from the ashes? If I lose, there's no ashes. If I lose, I'm done. I will have fought the fight and lost, and I'll have nothing else to fight for. And I don't even want to think about what this company could become, but I feel really bad for the wrestlers that are still here. He says Phoenix dies if he wins. You see why I'm trying to change this company? I've always done what I felt was the right thing. I've always been called by the other guys as the White Knight. Sometimes doing the right thing means not necessarily doing the popular choice. I can't lose. I'm not going to lose. As long as I am still breathing, as long as my heart is still pumping blood, I'm going to keep getting up. And I know, he said it's a death match, and I know he's got a plan. He's been ducking me for a year. Why would he just give me this match? I'm going to go through hell, and I'm taking him with me. I'm going to drag him through the fires of hell. I don't care if there's thumbtacks. I don't care if there's light bulbs. I don't care if there's barbed wire. Bring it all. It's all or nothing. It's kill or be killed. Simply put, if I lose, I die. You'll never see me again.
We are world-renowned superstars.
Dream chasers.
Role models for fans that love wrestling.
Athletes.
Champions. Men who destroy boundaries.
We are wrestlers.
But we are not immortal.
Broken knees, dislocated shoulders.
We sacrifice our lives for your entertainment.
Revolution is our home.
Stay safe in yours.
Don't try this.
You're listening to the official theme song for Uprising, brought to us by Saliva, fittingly titled Rise Up, from their album Rise Up. It's available now in stores and on iTunes. If we haven't jammed it into your head already, this Saturday is our season finale, Uprising. Bell time 1:30 p.m. 1006 Charles Street is the address in Streator, Illinois. The show, like it always has been, is free. The owner of the property advises that you do not bring any alcoholic beverages onto the premises. It is a very clean environment, just as Revolution is a fan-friendly environment. Just bring yourself, a friend, lawn chairs, food, and probably a jacket or two, as this could be a cold afternoon, but an electric one as well as a fun one. We talked about Houston versus Phoenix in the death match. We've talked about Snake versus Kash. But there are other matches signed for our finale, and right now we will announce the entire Uprising lineup. September 20th, on Adrenaline, Lex Rocker was forced to surrender his Unbreakable Championship, and since that day we had heard no news on how the vacancy would be filled. That was until this past weekend. Management is putting the Unbreakable Championship up for grabs at Uprising, and has only mentioned the name of only one participant to be involved in that title contest. That person is none other than Crypt. Just off of what we saw on last week's Adrenaline, Crypt has a newfound hunger and an inner rage that was unleashed on Wolf Assassin. Crypt is on his way to forge a partnership with Prodigy Snake next year. But in the singles game, he is as vicious and determined as ever, and would make a worthy successor to the Unbreakable throne. The only mystery, however, is who is going to face Crypt for the title. That will remain a secret until this Saturday. The mysteries don't stop in the Unbreakable Championship match. 15 Minutes of Pain has its own bit of intrigue on the side, as we have only heard the names of a handful of Revolution stars who have accepted the invitation to fight Pennywise for the Hardcore Championship. Names such as Zack Ryan, The Freak, Minion, Topson, Wolf Assassin, OAB, and the man who orchestrated the challenge, Jimmy Jack Daniels. It is invitations for even the uninitiated. And for Pennywise, it is the fight of his life. Once the bell rings on Saturday, the bullseye is all over him, as he must be pinned or made to submit to lose the title. Same goes for anyone involved during the 15-minute time limit who holds the Hardcore Championship. This will either be a barn burner or a barn mutilator. Get Bessie out while you still can. For the American Championship, it's a rematch from last week's Adrenaline as Twisted Wicked J defends his title against Ian Lockhart. On Adrenaline, Ian Lockhart tried to finally get the one-upmanship on Twisted Wicked J in a non-title contest, but things ended in chaos and defeat for the country boy. Injuries or not, Lockhart is on a pursuit to take the American Championship, but it will not be easy going against a high-flying style. Lockhart can change the pace as he pleases during any kind of match. Will those tactics work on Saturday? At the annual tribute show, we were treated to a 4-team tag team championship match that saw new champions be crowned. The Daniels boys were the defending champions walking into that match. At Uprising, could history repeat itself? It's Bobo and Junior putting up the gold against the administration's Adam Ward and Smasher, the Princeton Preps Kurt Reed and D-Row, and the newcomers Mo Dinger and Sean Mitchell. Two men will be in the ring at all times. It is one fall to a finish, though, and the champions do not have to be involved in the decision to lose their belts. Tags can be made to anyone at any time, and that brings up the potential to even see partners go at it. We heard from the boys earlier on. Here are comments from another participating team in the Fatal 4-Way.
Uprising, man. Tag team titles. They're coming home with the Preps, man.
Yes, they are.
Yes, man. You know, got those newcomers.
Who are they again?
I don't know. Some.
They're the ones that I think I called last night to get my math homework done.
Yeah, I don't know. Some nerds. Okay. Then you get those. What is it? The Daniels boys.
Who are they again?
I don't know. The Daniels boys playing the ding ding ding.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you know, banjo.
Right.
Stupid people. Then you got the Adam Ward and Smasher. What kind of dumb tag team is that? Look at this. Look at me. Kurt Reed, D-Row, Princeton Preps.
It's okay. We're taking those belts home.
Yes, we are.
Right where they belong.
Uprising, Princeton Preps, coming for the tag team titles. See you there.
Lex Rocker was forced to forfeit his Unbreakable Championship 3 weeks ago, but Rocker ended up requesting and receiving a better bargain in return for losing his title. How better? Inclusion in a match that has become a staple of this company dating back to the FYW era. Title in the bank. An opportunity to have a title shot in the palms of your hands at any time over the course of the next year via the Title in the Bank briefcase. Now, normally possession of the briefcase is determined by climbing a ladder and gaining control of the contract. That will be the case in this forthcoming incarnation of Title in the Bank. That will only be the case when the match comes down to 2 men. It will be elimination style tornado rules when the match starts out with 6 men. After 4 of them are eliminated by a pinfall or submission, the final 2 men remaining will attempt to ascend high above the ring, where the Title in the Bank briefcase will hang. And the one man that climbs the ladder and grabs the case will be the winner. It's an interesting tweak to a concept that has been commonplace in this company, and a concept that may very well be reaching the end of an era. Rumors have surfaced about a brand new match concept that has been presented to management, which has been receiving rave reviews, which you may very well get a chance to witness next season in Revolution. Again, this is just hearsay right now. You know how much I enjoy a little bit of rumor cherry popping. Probably because I can't pop cherries of a different kind. If this turns out to be the final edition of Title in the Bank, then we are definitely leaving in a blaze of glory. Take a look at the lineup. Genocide, Kia, Lex Rocker, Madman WK, True Sin, and Vajesus. Maybe the most star-studded Title in the Bank ever. 5 men out of 6 have held championship gold. 2 men once held the FYW championship. 1 man, Kia, is a former Title in the Bank winner. True Sin is the real wild card of the 6-man field. But all 6 men have as good a gripe as any as to why victory should be theirs, including this man.
You know, a lot of things have been going on, and I feel that Uprising, during the Title in the Bank match, there's only one guy that's going to win it, and it's going to be Jim Spraggott's first guy, Madman WK. And then I'm going to take the heavyweight champ from the featherweight champ, Mike Houston. Now, it's weird because usually when I'm doing these things, I don't have a manager, someone that is my politician, to talk for me. So, for once in a while, Jim, I'm sure you have plenty to say for me. So, I'm going to give this time to him.
Houston. Madman is going to win that contract. And then he's coming directly after you. It doesn't matter anymore, Houston. Every time that I've watched anything you do, when it's 1-on-1, you lose. When your little goon squad gets involved, that's the only way you win. That's it. That's it. So we're coming after your little Justin Bieber ass. We are going to take you and we are going to destroy you. We are going to take everything away from you. Everything. Not just one thing, everything. And you think we're coming alone? You got a great big surprise for you. 'Cause we're not. See you at Uprising, you little weasel.
It needs not be repeated any more than it has, but at the top are the 2 big main events of this show. Prodigy Snake, the Rogue Assassin, versus Kyle Kash, the Superstar. The fuss and the buzz has been about who betrayed the rebellion, who chinked the armor. The talk is almost all over. The physical warfare is about to commence. And then, for the biggest prize in RevDub, Mike Houston versus Brian Phoenix, the death match. The only way it ends is when one man cannot answer the pinfall and the standing 10 count by the official. For Mike Houston, it is to avoid leaving 2014 without the Revolution Championship. For Brian Phoenix, it's potentially to avoid leaving Revolution for good. stop me if you've heard this before. This Saturday figures to be the biggest show ever. I know, I'm probably ripping the envelope on that Tony Schiavone shill card that I got in the mail the other day. But hear me out. That phrase has been said a lot this year. The biggest show ever. It's been said with varying degrees of truth, using varying levels of vocabulary. On the air, behind the scenes. Everyone in Helen Keller have been jumping the gun on this biggest show ever thing. Although Helen has been the only one to successfully sing the blues while jumping that gun. But can you really blame us? Can you? To go from where this company was, a bunch of young adults reliving their youths, wrestling on trampolines, to where we are now, a bunch of young adults still reliving their youths. But this time actually grabbing the literal brass ring. Sure, some of you may find us laughable and worthy of a segment of hyperventilation on whatever YouTube or radio show that you host. But try stepping in our little world and living a decent piece of time in it before you besmirch yourselves. I said it last month, but we never claimed to be better than the promotions who have way, way more years of professional experience and fan support and payroll over us. 2 out of 3 ain't bad, but I think the one about the fan support is truly genuflected in what our mission is. To make sure you are entertained. We never claim to be the greatest thing since sliced bread, because rye is still pretty awesome. Nor have we said we were the greatest thing in the history of our sport. Now that's using the Tony Schiavone shill card. And Lord knows the last thing I want to do with my life is call Georgia Bulldogs baseball games after my credibility goes right down the draino. But it is that kind of exaggeration in self-promoting that does get everyone who has a role in this craft in a little bit of trouble. Not just myself, but everyone. Which brings me back to my point about the biggest show ever. You say it enough and it becomes cliched. You say it enough loudly, and it sounds like hyperbole. Hi, my name is Skeeter, but you can call me Perbole. Mike Houston used the phrase biggest show ever to describe New Horizons, because his baby was dawning a new era, a new name, a new ring, a new home, new characters, new everything. Putting the past to rest, and bringing a fresh vibe and a fresh personality lift to this product. We used it at the Animal Tribute show, because while many in the locker room had lived through death and losing close friends and family, none of us had ever experienced it in a working life situation, like how the fans inside of us experienced Owen Hart, Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit, and countless others. In fact, some of us had to wrestle a slight gut feeling that wrestling itself actually wasn't therapeutic. I use the phrase to describe Apocalypse, although it was actually used post-mortem, mostly after my gut reaction to seeing a Crimson Masked Prodigy Snake overcome a huge mass loss of blood to put up a fight against Crypt. I could still actually feel the blood on my hands. We used it for the first Adrenaline. That's logical step in the evolution of the revolution. We used it for Cruise Night and the road to Uprising, when we brought wrestling back to Streeter. When Jim Spraggan, a man who runs a non-profit recreational facility and on top of that is a pastor, offered us the opportunity to attract a crowd to watch free wrestling. And a crowd we got for both shows. No committees, just a group of crazy hellions who want to bring fun to a town with a movie theater that closed up because of lunacy and greed. The hard work of a rather eclectic group of people, all involved in putting the shows together. All egos left at the door. So is there justice in calling Uprising the biggest show ever? You have an Unbreakable Championship match featuring a true Revolution, non-FYW original. You have an American Championship match with a stark contrast in offensive strategery. You have a tag team title match where 6 of the 8 men involved actually debuted this season. You have the opportunity to actually sit back and enjoy a 15-minute long train wreck. It's a hardcore match with probably 10 or more people. I can say train wreck shamelessly. You got 10 combined title reigns, split among the 6 men in Title in the Bank. The last time Snake and Kash faced off, Homecoming 2013. The last time Phoenix and Houston faced off, Showdown 2012. Will you remember either of those dates? Highly unlikely. Nor should you. Because those matches are pure in the sense that they have rarely, if ever, happened. Which makes what happens in the moment mean a whole lot more. I have a hunch we'll be living in the moment a lot on Saturday. Let justice be served. One final reminder. Uprising heads your way this Saturday, October 18 at 1:30 p.m. 1006 Charles Street in Streator. The show is free. It's the final opportunity to see Revolution Wrestling in person this year. And after the essay I just put forward, how can you not at least give us a shot? The 2014 season ends this Saturday, but we'll be back with an all-new Revolution report next month. We will take a look back at the best of the year that was 2014. There has been news breaking about a possible awards show sometime early next year. So next month's report could very well become a prelude for that special event. If you can't make it to Uprising, YouTube and Facebook will have you covered. YouTube.com/FY Wrestling is our video library. Every show from this season is available in playlist form for your convenience. Head over there to catch a show if you happen to miss one, and especially once Uprising is available in full. On Facebook, search the keywords Revolution Wrestling, where you'll also see all the action, as well as get up-to-date news from RevDub. From Marilla Park in Streator, because the city park is under construction for probably the rest of our collective lives. Skinny Moxley for your Revolution report. Brace yourselves for the Uprising. 1:30 p.m. Saturday from Charles Street. See you there.